Welcome back to News Day. It's time now for sports news, and we have Aaron Akirijala joining us live from the Stade de France in Paris. Aaron, tell us what's the latest on the Ofili Gate scandal.
All right, let's start it off from that particular point. By the way, thank you for joining us today. Good afternoon to you, Hawa and Temi Tokwe. And we're live at the Stade de France, buzzing with quite a number of activities. But let's focus on Team Nigeria at the moment. And speaking about that Ofili Gate, it's unfortunate what has happened. But at the moment, there's been a lot of ball passing. And it's unfortunate that Favour Ofili has been at the center of two major controversies, being led down by the sporting authorities in Nigeria. Let me put it that way, because at the moment we cannot literally lay a finger on where or who dropped the ball and where was the ball dropped. But one thing is certain, as it stands right now, she's feeling let down by the country, feeling disgusted by how she's been treated, and she'll be cussing her luck and saying that, what do I need to do to compete for Team Nigeria? Is the big question. But let's talk about the Minister of Youth and Sports, Senator John Owaena, who has been blowing hot. And he is actually, in a quote, he says, as Minister, I will not tolerate the utter recklessness. It is highly inexcusable, and there will be thorough sanctions after investigations into where and from whom this gross negligence originated. He goes on to say, as an immediate measure, the Athletics Federation of Nigeria and the Nigeria Olympic Committee must ensure that Favour Ofili is not deprived of the opportunity to compete in the races for which she is qualified and registered to represent the country at the Paris Olympics. But that one is certain. She will not be representing Nigeria in the 100 meters, which will be kicking off in another few days. All right, we've entered a new month, and this is the month of athletics. We're getting into the business end of the Olympics, where the rubber actually hits the road. But it's unfortunate that we will not be having one of our best legs out there in the 100 meters event. She's been quite stellar, talking about Favour Ofili. But one thing is certain, the Athletics Federation of Nigeria have tried to exonerate themselves as they've released a list of athletes that they submitted to the Nigeria Olympic Committee. And if you look closely at that list, Favour Ofili is actually being penned down in number 11 in that particular list, in several events, which includes the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4 by 100 meters, and 4 by 100 meters. And you look at that, and you say to yourself that, how did this happen? Do we smell a rat there? Because there are talks that someone decided to tamper with this particular list. It's unfortunate. We need to get to the bottom of this. As they say, metaphorically, heads must roll, because this is inexcusable. This is literally an act of wickedness, because a lady has trained all her life, the last 10 years has been invested heavily into sharpening and honing her skills to be one of the very best and one of the fastest women in Africa and the world. And as it stands in Tokyo 2020, she was deprived the opportunity by the ministry. Right now, the NOC are say they do not understand, or they do not know who removed the name from the list. But moving away from that quickly, because of time, let me just quickly run through a couple of other things. That is the fact that the Super Falcons actually lost yesterday. It's unfortunate that the Super Falcons didn't win a single game, but they can say they scored a goal at the Olympics, but that wasn't good enough. They needed to win to actually qualify for the next round, but Japan comfortably beat them 3-1 yesterday in Nantes. Away from that, looking at the team update at the moment, you can actually see we have been crashing out of events at the Olympics. Table tennis, we've been eliminated. Badminton, we've been eliminated. Boxing, we've been disqualified. And football, we've also been eliminated. Looking at how things have actually played out. Later on today, the D Tigers will be in action. And this afternoon, they pull out the stops once again, become giant killers. They shocked the world when they beat third-seeded Australia, the uppers of Australia. They'll be going against the host France today in Lille, and they'll be hoping to also do the same. They are all energetic, all fired up for this particular game in their group. Quickly, looking at day 6, of course, we've had some massive actions: 3x3 basketball, archery, artistic gymnastics, athletics, badminton, basketball, beach volleyball, handball, hockey, judo, rowing, sailing, swimming, table tennis, volleyball, and water polo. And finally, when we look at the medal table as it stands right about now, as of this morning, China were topping with 9 gold, 7 silver, and 3 bronze. And not forgetting the likes of France, Japan, Australia, and Great Britain.
Well, it is, first of all, it's unfortunate that we seem to have been crashing out of a lot of these events. And the one event, the athletics event, where we would be more of a shoo-in with this, with Ofili Gate happening, it seems like we sabotage ourselves, and it's quite unfortunate. Hopefully she's able to iron everything out for the, I think she still has a 200-meter race coming up. You spoke about the Tigresses. They are no stranger to sabotage and the chaos that is the Nigerian Athletics Federation. So hopefully they're able to scale through as well, undeterred, before they now say that their kit was burned or, some other situation that they, that randomly happens before a game. Let's hope that everything goes well. Could you give us any more updates from Paris? Because honestly, Aaron, we need any good news we can get from the other side. As you know, we are bogged down by protests and the hints of protests here in Lagos and in Nigeria in general. So any good news for us? Any more good news?
I'm just searching. I'm just hitting my tablet to try to refresh the roster for today, and hopefully we have some good news to share. But the truth is this: good news for Team Nigeria has been few and far between. It's rather unfortunate that has actually been the case, as we're looking forward to that actually happening. 4:15 the time here in Paris. 3:15 in Nigeria, talking about the game between France and Nigeria. Earlier on, okay, one man ran in hits, or swam rather in hits 5. Toby Shiduade is his name, and we are hoping that he can actually qualify for the next round in swimming. And we've not really had so much to look up to in this Olympics. It's rather unfortunate, and you couldn't have said it any better. The event we were hoping to actually probably shine in, which is athletics, which is our sweet sport, it's unfortunate that an athlete that is meant to compete was conspicuously omitted. And to add to the conspiracy, there are athletes in this Paris 2024 games that shouldn't be here. Imagine that injured athletes were brought to the Olympics. The federation and the ministry know that these athletes are injured, left fully fit athletes back at home, and brought in injured athletes to come and collect extra codes, enjoy the fine dining that Paris 2024 has to offer, enjoy the scenery in the town, go to the stadium, probably sit down and be part of the event as a spectator, and leaving those who could be competitors at home. It's the height of insanity, if you'd ask me. Nigeria never ceases to amaze me sometimes. It's just unfortunate.
Well, it is very unfortunate. And of course, we've seen the sports minister talking tough. But any idea or any update on investigations on what really happened, with Ofili and, to avert any more crises of such nature in future?
The minister, like you said, the minister has been talking tough. But the question is, can he follow through? Because usually when people are being caught napping, they would make appeals to the highest bodies in the land to intervene, to keep them on the job. That has been the case, because this is a sackable offense. The truth is this: the Athletics Federation of Nigeria have exonerated themselves. The NOC, all hands are pointing towards the NOC. The president of the NOC, Abu Kumel, has a lot to answer. And he must give a very convincing answer, lest people must be fired. Enough of this international disgrace that this gentleman, these technocrats have put Nigeria through. Is it that we are washing jerseys? Is it that we are failing to pay for athletes to get tested and we go to the games and get banned by the Athletics Integrity Unit? It's always one problem or the other. Why can't we get our acts right? It is not difficult. This is their job. This is their major job. They campaigned for the job. They campaigned for the position. They said they were good enough to do the position, and they are all concerned about remuneration and how much will go into their pockets. It's rather unfortunate because we've seen ministry officials, for example, they were more concerned about collecting phones that were meant for athletes to give to their wives and girlfriends. Meanwhile, failing to understand that the reason why the athletes were deprived of participating in the first place was because of their negligence, was because of their lackadaisical attitude, and their very, very weak and mediocre approach towards administration. Athletes will do all they can, train for as long as they can, try to rally themselves around, try to raise monies individually because the federation barely supports these people. And when the opportunity is to be given to them to go and showcase and flag the flag of Nigeria very high, something happens. The administrators are more concerned about the billions that the federal government has released and how much can come into their pockets. We know that the federal government did very well. It released 8 billion for these Olympic Games. There's some things that shouldn't be happening. We've heard too many things that shouldn't be happening. Not everything can be said. It's unfortunate that these things are happening. But this one, someone should pay for it because they've literally destroyed their destiny.
Yeah, and with $8 billion in the drain, someone definitely should be on the hook for it. But, you know, maybe coming up in the next couple of days, there is some hope for Nigeria. We know that there is still wrestling in the future. Ashton Mutua hopefully making us proud down here. We will see as it goes. And we have to say goodbye to you, Aaron. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll catch up with you once again later on in the program or in the bulletin.